This is just a building block, and I'm showing you what you're gonna need in order to be successful, and not in the cultural zeitgeist definition of successful, but successful in maintaining relationship with me. I'm showing you, like, these are the building blocks that are gonna, like, get you into my presence.
Cute, but dumb. Cute, but stupid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of For the One Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Merlino. I pray that you all are having pretty restful weeks. This is going to be right after the new year, so happy new year. We made it to 2026. I don't know how, but we did, by the grace of God, literally. I cannot even believe it's 2026. I'm like, how are we already halfway through, like, the 20 somethings? Like, in 4 years it's going to be 2030. Like, this is insane. Like, how are we still here? How am I this old? How is it this year? It's just crazy. I don't know if anybody else feels like that. It's weird. It's just weird to think about. But we made it to 2026, so happy new year. I'm hoping that you all had good holidays, a bunch of stuff that we're going to work off in the new year, and got to sleep and relax, hopefully, between Christmas and New Year's. But I am going to kick off. I know I haven't done this for a couple episodes now, so forgive me. But I'm going to kick off with what is bringing me joy this week. And honestly, it would probably have to be, so I'm recording this. It is still 2025 when I'm recording this. It is the end of December. And we just had our Christmas party yesterday for our Bible study, and I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, but I got everybody a little something. I got the girls some goodie bags, and I got some gifts for the guys in our group. And I like giving gifts, especially when people are not expecting them, and especially when it was like, a lot of the gifts, if not all of them, are actually very, like, natural and organic in how I just literally came across them. And I was like, oh, so-and-so would like this. Oh, so-and-so would like this. Oh, so-and-so would love this. And that's how I like doing gifts. I don't like doing gifts when there's a lot of pressure, if there's, like, a certain expectation. Like, it's hard because, like, for people's birthdays, it's like, okay, you get somebody a gift. But I like getting gifts, throughout the year. Like, if I see something and I'm like, oh, this made me think of you, I just want to buy it for you. I don't care if it's April. I don't care if it's a random Tuesday. I don't care if it's not your birthday, not Christmas or anything. But that's how I like doing gifts. And I was grateful that this year it felt like that a lot with these gifts that I got everybody. And I love, like, what's bringing me joy is, like, seeing people open their gifts and, like, seeing their reactions to what I got, and hopefully them just feeling and understanding that, like, I really did put thought into it, and it was very personal, like, for each person, and I didn't just, like, throw stuff in a bag. I, like, meticulously picked out even, like, the girls as, like, which bag I gave to which girl, like, based on the design of it, and, which socks I gave them, and, things like that. So what made me the most excited was there was this little vendor shop that Becca and I had gone to. This was like 2 months ago. So this is what started all, is like 2 months ago, we're at this vendor shop, and they had these kind of like stands, that spin around, that rotate, and they had all of these pins on them. And these were some of the most unique pins I have ever seen. I'm not, like, a pin person. Like, I don't wear pins. I don't collect pins. Like, this, I'm not a pin person. But what grabbed my attention was how unique and almost, like, funny all of these pins were. And I said to the girls last night, I was like, I literally felt like Ariana Grande when she did the 7 Rings song, and she literally bought, like, 7 diamond rings for, like, the girls in the group at the time. and like her best friends and everything. And I was like, I literally felt like Ariana Grande, but obviously I'm like way too poor to be buying diamond rings for all of my girls. So I bought these pins that just reminded me, or again, made me think of each one of them. And they were so, again, specific to each girl. Everybody laughed. I loved like as each person opened the bag and found the pin, like just cracking up laughing at these pins. And yeah, so that's what started it all. And then like everything else from there, again, like even the gifts I got for the boys, like it just was very like natural and organic, like how I came across stuff, how I found stuff. I knew that they would like it, things like that. So it just brought me a lot of joy, especially because, people were not expecting that. Like I didn't tell anyone, and like we already had decided as a group we weren't going to do a Secret Santa, we weren't going to do a white elephant gift exchange. So I didn't tell anybody that I was getting them anything, but I did. And I loved seeing their joyous faces, opening their presents. So that is what has brought me a lot of joy this week. Hey guys, we'll be right back to the episode in just a moment, but first I want to tell you about an offer that I have for something called Primal Queen. It is a company made by a woman for women, and if you are a girly like me with something like PCOS, where you have imbalanced hormones, weird things with your cycle, low energy, unstable moods, Primal Queen has been shown to help so many women with all of those symptoms. Primal Queen is a supplement that is packed with vitamins and nutrients from beef organs. If you're like me, you're not going to be cooking up and serving liver on a random Tuesday for dinner. So if you want all of the benefits of eating organ meat, but you don't want to actually eat it, Primal Queen is the answer for you. So if you click the link in my description, you will get 25% off your first order of a starter kit of Primal Queen. It's a 30-day supply, and within the first couple weeks, you should be starting to notice things like improvement in your mood and improvement in your energy levels, and even starting to notice changes in your hormone balances. So if you would like to try this for yourself, again, that is 25% off if you use the link in my description for Primal Queen today. Now back to the episode. Okay, so what we're getting into today. I was just telling Sean this before we started recording, because he was like, "Do you know what you're going to talk about?" Because guys, this is the third podcast I've done in a span of like 5 days. Okay, so I've been like just nonstop podcasting, trying to just, get stuff ready so that I can have a little break over the holidays. Sean can have a little break over the holidays. So we've just been cranking these out. So I texted him yesterday about something, and I was like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, pray that I know what I'm saying, because I just have not had a lot of downtime. Listen, y'all. Okay, we got to talk about this. Well, let me finish my thought. See, this is the ADHD. I'm so sorry. Let me finish my thought. I just told him, because he was like, do you know what you're going to talk about? I was like, honestly, this podcast is going to be like a little bit different. This is not going to be super heavy. This is not like super theologically teaching. I don't have like specific scripture. This is LTE. Okay, this is LTE mode of the podcast today. We're starting a little light, getting into the new year, dipping our toe in, But if you're like me, and if you're watching this, listen, I'll air myself out. Listen, I feel like I am like crawling to the finish line of 2025 recording this. I feel like I'm crawling to get to Christmas. It's like so much stuff I'm trying to like wrap up, loose ends I'm trying to like take care of, because I don't want to be doing stuff between Christmas and New Year. Like, I already have to do like a little bit of quote unquote work to prep for some things, and as it pertains to Bible study and the podcast. I have like a guest coming on in January, got to prep for things like that. That's fine. But I'm really trying to like get stuff off of my to-do list and off of my plate so I can just rest. And so I've been in go mode. I was exhausted. Okay. Last night, especially after this Christmas party, because it was like, I had another Christmas thing on Friday. We made cookies for it. Like, then Saturday, record a podcast. Like, I went home and napped. I was supposed to be cleaning. that didn't happen. Then I was like trying to clean the house yesterday to get ready for the Christmas party, and just we've been going like nonstop. I was supposed to go to an 8 a.m. Pilates class today. I had every intention in the world of going. I didn't even go to bed that late. I was in bed before midnight last night. That's pretty good for me. I was like, I can do this. Set my alarms, whatever. I tell you, like, I don't even think I heard the alarms. I did not wake up till like 9:15 today, but I feel so rested now at the same time. Like, I feel like my body really needed that sleep because I was exhausted. Like, I was feeling it last night. And so I'm like, okay, I need to rest. It's fine. But I'm like, I just feel like there's got to be some sort of meme out there that can encapsulate this feeling. But it's just like crawling to the finish line, trying to get all this stuff done. Like, you're tired. I got like I'm missing 2 nails right now on my hand. Like, I've just had my nails falling off left and right. I have an appointment tomorrow, like, to get them done before the holiday. But it's just like, just every element. I was like, I felt like my hair is like crazy today. I'm just like, I cannot, I don't feel put together at all. Nothing about me right now is put together. I'm like, I'm just all over the place. I feel like a lot of people are all over the place as the holiday is like approaching, and we do it to ourselves a lot of the time. It's like a lot of stress, and it's like, why do we do this? But we do. It's a societal thing, and there's just a lot going on. And I think a lot of people, to my point, are trying to do what I'm trying to do, and you're trying to tie up all these like loose ends, quote unquote, because you don't want to be calling, places or making appointments or scheduling things or sending emails. Like, you don't want to be doing all that between Christmas and New Year. Like, you just don't. So I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to what I'm saying. But all that to say, I've not had a ton of time to like be like, oh, I'm going to teach on this passage, or it's just like, that's not happening right now, sis. So we are on LTE mode today, and I thought it would be funny/fun to part of this podcast, at least, name and list off to you guys some of the things that were not on my bingo card this year. I feel like I like this premise, whoever came up with this. I feel like this is a very Gen Z term, but to be like, oh, that wasn't on my bingo card. Love that saying. I don't love everything Gen Z comes up with, but that I do like. So this is not even just like on my bingo card personally. This is like a mix of like personal, not on my bingo card, and also just like crazy turn of events in like politics or our world or whatever that I could think of. And again, this is not an extensive list, but I made a short list that I was just like, oh yeah, I would not have seen that coming. Really did not anticipate these things. So let's just go down the list of things that were not on my bingo card for 2025. First is getting in a relationship. Was not planning on getting in a relationship this year. Was not looking for a boyfriend. I was over on the bench. Okay. As John Mulaney would say, I was over on the bench, and I was minding my own business. And then this cute boy that's now my boyfriend, Aaron, he had to be all like, I like you. And I'm like, I'm good. Thanks. And then, here we are. We'll have our anniversary in February. It'll be a year in February. But here we are dating. I adore him. He has brought me a lot of peace, a lot of joy, a lot of comfort this year. And I thank God for blessing me with him. But I was not having that on my bingo card for 2025. But the Lord had other plans. Praise the Lord. All right. Second thing, Nicki Minaj thanking President Trump / speaking at the White House. Y'all, when I saw that, I was like, what is going on in the world? That is crazy work in the best way. Now, I'm not mad about it, okay? I've always liked Nicki Minaj. She was always, like, out of all the female rappers, she was always my favorite. I'm not just saying that because of this turn of events. I'm like, I grew up on her music, like, and again, I'm not saying all her music is, like, squeaky clean, like, if we could have a little bit more Jesus in there, that'd be good. But Nicki, I like I like where we're headed. I like where we're going. And this all started, I think she went there because of the Nigerian Christians being persecuted. And she tweeted about it. She ended up speaking to President Trump. She came to the White House. It was like this whole thing. Love that she has had such concern for the Christians in Nigeria that are losing their lives because and I know I talked about this on the podcast, but this was like the craziest thing was like the first really massive media attention here in the States that it gained was because of Bill Maher, like a long known Democrat. I'm pretty sure he's atheist or at least agnostic. Like he's not a Christian. Bill Maher, but like between Bill Maher and Nicki Minaj, they have raised more attention about the Christian persecution in Nigeria than like anybody else I've seen or heard of. So shout out to Nicki Minaj. Love that happened. Third thing that was not on my bingo card for this year, going back to church. And y'all know if you have been with me listening to this podcast since around July, August, that was not on my bingo card. I basically, it had been like a year. Yeah, I think it was almost a year exactly that I had stopped going to church. And I was not planning on going back, but the Lord got me and I needed to get got. And I even said, I was like, I'm not going back till he's like, you're going back. And that's exactly what happened at the end of June, right around my birthday, beginning of July. He was like, it's time. It is time. And I said, I don't want to. I'm going to go kicking and screaming. But then I know I talked about I'm actually very blessed, even, referencing the Christians persecuted in Nigeria, very blessed that I'm able to go to church when I want, where I want. I don't really have to worry about my life being taken for it. Very thankful for the freedoms and the blessings that we have in this nation when it comes to that. But it was not on my bingo card to be going back to church. But when the Lord's like, it's time, then you listen and you go. And it ended up being one of the best things I've done. I ended up meeting with the pastor of the one church that we've kind of just seemed to keep going back to, and had one of the most refreshing, encouraging, life-giving conversations with him. I'm so grateful that he made time and space for me to share some of my story and to ask questions. And it really restored my faith in pastors in the local church. It was incredible. So was not on my bingo card, but the Lord knew it was time. The Lord knew that I needed it, and he just orchestrated it, as he always does, very perfectly. And I'm very blessed that I'm going back to church in 2025. Another thing on my bingo card. This is completely random, but it was not on my bingo card. Watching The Devil Wears Prada for the first time. I had never seen that movie. I know y'all are probably like, what are you even saying right now, Nicole? I'm telling y'all, I had never seen that movie. But I watched it a couple weeks ago at the apartment with Faith and her boyfriend, and I was like, dang, this is a good movie. Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt. I was blanking on her name for a second. It was a great movie. So, it was not on my bingo card to watch that. I knew it was kind of, what do they call that? Like a cult classic. It's just one of those movies that I feel like everybody knows, everybody's seen. And they're even now talking about, I think they're doing what do they call that? Like not a reboot, because it's not a TV series, but they're making like a second one, basically. I saw like the promo for it. So they're teasing that they're making a second one, which now I'm kind of excited for the second one. Do I think it's going to live up to the first one? Maybe, because if it's all the original cast in it, I think it has a shot. I think movies get into a lot of trouble when they try to do these revamps, these reboots, part twos, whatever, and it's not the same cast. And it's just like Home Alone. Like, you cannot, like Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, some of my favorite Christmas movies. Like, I mean, they are tied, if not right up there in the top 3 of my favorite Christmas movies. But then you get into Home Alone 3, it's a different boy. The two criminal guys are different actors, and it's like, it's not the same. This is trash. Like, you tried to do something. You can't put lightning in a bottle twice, right? And some people, I feel like, I'm going on a side tangent, but I don't care. I feel like Hollywood is really bad about this anymore, where nobody can come up with like any good original ideas. And so all they're doing is they're remaking, or they're like, well, we'll make a part 2, or we'll remake this movie that was made in the 80s, or we'll do like a live action. Disney is all about the live action now. And it's like, I have yet to see most of those work out better than the original. It's kind of like, why are you messing with something that's already good? Like, why are you trying to redo a story and a plot and character development that's already solid and people love? And then you're just trying to like rip it off, put like some smidgen of yourself on it, and like then put it back out into the world. And it's like, it usually just doesn't work. You cannot put lightning in a bottle twice. And I think people need to know when good enough is good enough. And it's like, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Let it be what it is. Let it lie. Come up with something creative for once. Sorry. Like, that's my 2 cents on that. But was not on my bingo card to watch The Devil Wears Prada, but I'm glad I did. Okay. Next one, this is more celebrity news. Daddy Yankee giving his life to Jesus and saying he's only making Christian music from here on out. Was not on my bingo card for 2025, but hallelujah, praise the Lord. I feel like, y'all, I'm seeing it happen. I feel like Hollywood, there's becoming this very like divisive line. And I say divisive almost in like a good way in this context, a dividing line, I should maybe say, in Hollywood between these celebrities that, again, like maybe they didn't start off doing Christian music, or maybe they were never Christians before, or like whatever. Even like over the last couple of years, you've heard stories of like OnlyFans girls. There's the one, and I cannot remember her name right now, but I love hearing her story. She has like the red hair. Y'all probably know who I'm talking about. You have her, you have Black China, you have these OnlyFans girls that are like, I've been doing this for however many years. And then it's like, I give my life to Jesus and I'm like serious about this. Whoa. Love that. Not on the bingo card, but here for it. So you have, I'm seeing like within like the celebrity entertainment, Hollywood regime, you're having these like dividing spaces where like people who maybe were not in faith or serious about it are actually like, no, I'm over here now. Like, I'm for real about Jesus. And I'm like, I'm dedicating my life and my artistry to that. Love seeing that. So shout out to Daddy Yankee giving his life to Jesus and saying he's only making Christian music from here on out. Was not on my bingo card, but again, glad it happened. Another one. Forrest Frank and Corey Asbury's beef turned friendship. If y'all are in the Christian circle atmosphere at all and you follow these Christian worship leaders online like I do, I don't even think I followed Forrest Frank. I was not following Corey Asbury. But we saw this in 2025 play out in live time. We're like, whoa, like they're beefing. And originally, until I learned more, that was like an emotional roller coaster for me, just on like whose side I was on. And I'm actually glad, because I almost talked about it on the podcast like as it was happening, or like when it first happened, but I'm actually really glad that I didn't, because I at first was on Corey Asbury's side. And then I found out like the story behind like the post that started it all, and I learned more information. I was like, oh no, actually Corey was in the wrong. I'm on Forrest's side. Like I was like switching back and forth. It was kind of crazy. And then Ruslan had them on, which I was like, Ruslan of all people and, you know, podcast platforms, like he sits them both down after they've kind of like talked this out. Now they're friends. And then it was this whole conversation of how like their beef turned to friendship. I was like, what is going on? So now they're like best buds and they're like trying to do like shows together and stuff. And I'm like, listen, I'm here for it. I don't want the body to be divided, especially over silly things like a social media post. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah, we got to get our stuff together. But I love how both men handled it very maturely in private, and they were able to like actually communicate. They were able to actually have a conversation, and it resulted in this brotherhood and this friendship. And I did not know we needed it, but we did. We needed it, and it was not on my bingo card. But again, glad it happened. All right, here's another one. And I hate to bring up the same person twice, but Nicki Minaj sitting across from Erica Kirk at a Turning Point USA event. Not on my bingo card for 2025. Fam, what? In case you did not hear what I just said, Nicki Minaj sitting across from Erica Kirk at a Turning Point USA event. This just happened before I'm recording this podcast. This is like end of December 2025. This just happened. I was like, oh, Nicki's gone from like the White House to the Turning Point. She's in it. Nicki's in it. She's sitting across from Erica Kirk. If you would have asked me, I don't know, 5 years ago, if Nicki Minaj was ever going to sit across from Erica Kirk and have a conversation, let alone at a Turning Point event, I would have been like, you're insane. There's no way. She's over here. She's over. There's no way they're going to sit. But they did. And it was not on my bingo card. I'm also not mad about it. I have a lot of mixed feelings. And that's a whole separate conversation for another day about the whole everything with Turning Point. I'm a mixed bag right now, and I don't know how to feel. But I do love that those two women sat across from each other. I think that's dope. I would never have expected that. But here we are on the bingo card. Lastly, thing I did not have on my bingo card for 2025, getting sucked into and obsessed with Wicked. Okay. Now, before y'all come at me, because I am a fake fan, I'm a little bit of a fake fan right now, because I have not seen the two movies. I have not seen either movie. Part 1, Part 2, I have not seen it. But when I tell you my entire timeline somehow has been Wicked and Wicked promo and Wicked songs, and I am so invested in movies that I've never seen. I am so invested in the artistry of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and how they like not only like played these characters, but then like the actual logistics. Like I just saw another one of how Cynthia had to sing one of my favorite songs I've been listening to on repeat, No Good Deed. How she had to sing that, and through most of it, she's not even on the ground. She's in some sort of wire contraption, flying, flipping, whatever it is. And that song is just, oh my gosh, it's my favorite one right now. I could change, but right now it's my favorite one. So I'm so invested in these characters and the production and like even listening to the DP talk about how they did like certain shots. I'm just like, I'm so invested in two movies I've never seen. Was not on my bingo card at all. Was not on my bingo card at all for 2025 to be invested in Wicked. I don't like musicals. I especially never was invested, nor did I listen to anything from the Wicked musicals. I knew roughly like and references to some of the bigger songs like Popular, Defying Gravity. Okay, I knew of that. I never listened to them. I never really cared about Wicked the musical. And then this movie comes out and I'm just like, what the heck? And I don't like, this is hard for me. I've had like an up and down relationship in my emotions towards Ariana Grande. So this isn't even like, oh, you're just obsessed with Ariana Grande, so like that's why you like it. No, and if anything, I'm not saying she didn't do a great job. I mean, I know she trained crazy vocally for that role, and like it shows. Absolutely amazing talent on both sides, but Cynthia Erivo is actually like, I love her voice. Love her voice. Like if there's something let's take with us into 2026, it's Cynthia Erivo's voice. Like what are those vocal cords? It's insane. It is insane. So I don't know. Cynthia Erivo, she got me. She got me with her role as Elphaba. She really got me. I'm not even mad about it. But those are the list of things that I had that I kind of just, again, jotted down. Those are my lists of things that were not on my 2025 bingo card. So I wanted to do this episode where I gave a little bit of like the 2025 recap, something fun like that, before I started talking about getting in to 2026, which there's a lot I could say, to be honest. I could say a lot, but I think there's some things right now that are stirring and happening that I want to keep a little bit intimate and personal between me and the Lord, at least while I'm in the midst of figuring them out and trying to walk through them. And but what I will say is I hope and I pray that 2026 is a year unlike any year I've had yet. That's very vague, and that could mean a lot of things, but I am just sensing things, and we'll see if I'm right or not. But I do pray that it's a year unlike any other year that I've had. And here's the thing. I don't think I want to try to phrase this correctly. I don't think that God works new year by new year. Like, just because he gave you something, or you've been wrestling with something, or praying, in conversation with him about something in 2025, does not mean that when the clock strikes midnight of 2026, those things are just gone, that those things are just old news. And I think I'm trying to discover that and find that out over the last 2 years specifically, because over the last 2 years specifically, I never used to be a word of the year person. I never used to be like, this is my word for the new year. I was always like, that's dumb and I hate that, and why do people do that? It wasn't until 2 years ago that God started giving me words of the year. I was not like, y'all, when I tell you when I tell you 2024, oh no, wait, it started in 22. It started in 2022, actually. I'm so sorry. So 2022, he gave me my word for 2023. So 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026, I have gotten words for my year from the Lord, and I have not prayed a single prayer of, Lord, give me my word of the year. This year was wild. I got my word for 2026 in July of 2025. I'm like, what is it? Christmas in July? What, are we moving stuff up this year? What is going on? And it's hard. It's been weird and somewhat hard on myself because, for example, my word in 2024 was rest. And when we came to December of 2024, about to enter the new year of 25, I'm like, God, I still feel like I have not learned how to rest. Like I still feel like I have not mastered this word. Like I didn't do that as much this year as I needed to. And I felt like that in this year as well, like as we're ending 2025, the word that he gave me for this year, I'm like, I don't feel like I did that enough this year. Like, I don't feel like, again, like I learned it enough and it hasn't like soaked in as like part of me yet. And like now we're moving into 2026 and you're giving me another word. But what is so incredible to me is all of the words from these last 3 words moving into 2026, which is the fourth word of the year. So sorry. 4th word of the year. All of these words are building like upon themselves, and they are building up to something that I don't know, but I'm like looking at them and I'm like, oh, you needed this to be able to even start to focus on this word. And then you needed this word to even start to begin to live and incorporate and focus on this word. And so it's been this really beautiful buildup that, again, I did not have to ask for. Now, I'm not saying that this is everybody's situation. I'm not saying that you shouldn't seek God in prayer. Like if you are looking for, like, God, like what is a word for this year that can really anchor me, that can really like focus me, and like focus our relationship together this year. Like that is not a bad prayer to pray. I'm not saying don't pray that. I was just never that person. And I think the Lord knew that. I wasn't going to sit there and pray that prayer, especially like a couple years ago. I just wasn't. And so he keeps showing up, and how it happens is it's gradual, but it's also very blunt and clear at the same time, where it is like this word is just, I mean, you might as well like have a highway of billboards with this word on it, because whether it's through somebody else, whether it's through scripture verses, this word might as well just be in flashing lights, bold print letters, like blinking. Like that's how it happened in July of this year. And actually in July of this year, he gave me a vision that accompanied that. And he's given me visions before that also encapsulated other words of the year that I've had. So it's in a multitude of different ways that he's speaking it, but it's like, oh, okay, message received loud and clear. This is my word for this upcoming year. Got it. But it's been a challenge because it can feel again like, well, I didn't learn how to rest well this year. And that was my word. Like I started learning about Sabbath more. I started, trying to incorporate it more, but like I still haven't mastered it. And I think the thing that I'm learning and the beauty of this is that he was never asking me to master it in a 12-month time frame. He was never asking me like, okay, this is your word, December to December, you're focusing on rest. And it's like, you better learn it, and you better learn it now, and you better like mature in it and get with the program. Like that, I don't think was ever what he was intending when he's giving these words. Because keep in mind what I just said, he does not work on a 12-month to 12-month calendar time frame. That's our time frame in our human time here on earth. That is our societal, cultural, normative time frame. He is outside of time. And so I think he uses natural, seasonal changes, transition points, tendencies like the new year as humans to be like, I'm giving you an invitation to entering into start to learn about this side of me, or this thing that I have actually made like for you and for your betterment, like rest. Hey, I want you to just start to think about, maybe I really need to incorporate a Sabbath day. What does that mean? What does that look like? And instead of achieving it all in one calendar year, December to December, like it's a pass or fail, like I'm not going to lie to y'all, okay? I thought at the end of 2024, or as 2024 was ending, and it was maybe like November, I was like, Lord, I feel like I have not rested well this year. Like this was my word of the year. I don't feel like I did it. I didn't finish reading the Sabbath book I started reading. I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all. I didn't finish reading the Sabbath book I started reading. I feel like I did not like pass this level like with this word. So I fully was like anticipating, I'm not going to get a new word for 2025 because I didn't even, almost like a video game, like I almost didn't pass the test on this level, so why would I get to go to the next? But what I have learned is not only will he still give you the word to the next year, to the next level, however you want to think about it, he's also just like, this is just a building block for this. And I'm seeing now, oh, okay, well, if I'm not resting well, it's going to be really hard for me to do the word that he gave me for 2025. And it has been, because I have not been in a good rhythm of rest for most of this year. And so I haven't been able to feel like I've mastered the word that he gave me for 2025. And so he's like, no, this is just a building block. And I'm showing you what you're going to need in order to be successful, and not in the cultural zeitgeist definition of successful, but successful in maintaining relationship with me. I'm showing you, like, these are the building blocks that are going to, like, get you into my presence continually, that are going to give you peace, that are going to give you patience, that is going to regulate your nervous system on a more regular basis. Like, this is how you achieve that. And he's not withholding, and he's not punishing. He's not saying, if you don't master this in these 12 months, Nicole, you don't get a word for next year. And you're going to sit on this word and this word alone until you get it. No, instead, in his kindness, he's actually like, oh no, I'm going to give you the next word, because you're going to see that until you rest, it's going to be hard to do this word. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm struggling with that, because I'm not like going back to like the foundational building block that he's giving me. And so I'm just seeing over these last 4 words now, these last 4 years that he has given me, words of the year, I'm seeing the evolution and the foundational building that is happening, that he's like trying to get me to a place, but he's not going to punish or withhold if I don't master it, or if I don't fully get there in a year. And here's the reality. I'm not going to fully get there in a lifetime. I'm not fully going to get there by the time I'm, 80, 85. I'm not going to fully get there to the time I'm on my deathbed and I take my final breath. I'm not ever going to fully get there. But I was putting that expectation on myself. I was putting that standard on myself of like, I need to get this. And because I'm not getting this, I'm not only letting him down, but I'm letting me down, and I'm not going to get the next word. And it's been 4 years of this very grace-filled, kind way of him being like, no, I'm going to show you where we're going. I'm going to show you the next step. But just remember, like, you still need that. You still need to go back to 2024 and practice rest. You still need to focus on rest, even though that's not your word for 2026. And so I just wanted to give that like story and that encouragement to somebody who maybe has found themselves in the same place with the Lord of like, hey, you're giving me these words and I feel like year after year after year, I'm not getting it and I'm not conquering it and I'm not passing this level of the test. I want you to know I'm sitting here saying and feeling the same thing. I get it, but that is not why he's giving that to you. This is not a pass fail. This is not you cannot like experience anything in this level until you complete this level fully. Like, because again, fully is a very relative term when it comes to these spiritual things, because we're never going to fully arrive while we're in our earthly bodies here. And so I think it's also taught me a lot about striving. Like, what am I striving for and why am I striving for it? And do I have to strive for it? It's a reflection of, is this me putting the standard and this expectation on myself, or is this God, again, inviting me into a knowledge and a conversation within our relationship about this topic in particular? And again, I just keep using rest as the example, but it's a very big one. It's a very crucial one. And I'm still learning the lesson. And we're going to be going on 2 years now since he gave me that word that I needed to start working on with him. But it's not a striving. It's not like, again, I have to complete this to go to the next level. It's an invitation of, I get to start to actually see what this is like and see how this actually affects me in my daily and weekly routines, how this affects me in my relationship with others, how it gives me more capacity for people. Like, all of that is valid. And that's what he is working you into gradually, slowly. And he's not expecting perfection right out the gate. And he's not even expecting full maturity and full perfection in one area, again, in a calendar year, 12-month to 12-month time frame. It's building upon each other every single year. So I just wanted to give that encouragement to somebody who may need it. Now, with that, so as much as I don't, I haven't particularly prayed any of these times and been like, give me the word for the year. It's just been happening. And I'm very grateful to him that's happening. What I do at the beginning of every year, starting in 2024, because I had never done this before, was, and if you're watching this, I'm visually showing you, I have 2 jars here. I have 2 little jars. This jar, the black jar, is full of prayers that in January of the new year, I write out. So just to show you, if you're watching, if you're not watching, I'm going to try to describe this. I have little tabs of Post-it notes that are color-coded. So I have like orange, I have green, yellow, pink, blue, and each one represents a different category of prayers that I'm praying for. For example, blue is for like other people's salvations, people in my life that I love and I care about that are not saved. Those are blue. Pink is more for, I would call it like personal spiritual things. Like I think one of them was for me to have like a compassion of Christ towards others. That's like a personal spiritual maturing thing. I think I had another one about like the gifts of the Spirit, like that I would grow in the gifts of the Spirit, things like that. Green, I made financial. Orange, I made for like healings. It's like prayer specifically for healings, like bodily, physical healings of not only maybe myself, but mostly they're for other people. But that is what is in this black jar. And last year we did it, and this year we're planning on doing it again, where like I invite our Bible study, our friends over, like, hey, we're going to have I call it a vision night. I don't do vision boards. I'm not saying vision boards are not Christian or godlike. I'm not saying you can't do vision boards. I don't like vision boards. I never have. I don't want to do them. Never did I want to do them. And I just, for me personally, I just don't think that's helpful to me. So I call it a vision night, where we basically worship and cast vision in partnership with the Lord. So this jar contains desires of my heart, of things that I feel like I want to do, I want to venture into, that I feel like the Lord has gifted me to do or venture into. But at the end of the day, it's in partnership with God. And ultimately, if it is not within his will, I have to be okay that not all of these are going to get answered. Now, I'm going to get to this. In this other jar, on the top tab, I labeled it Answered Prayers 2024 through however many years of answered prayers I can put in here. So what I was avoiding doing until this morning before this podcast, I was like, let me do this before this podcast. I was hesitant to go through and actually go through this prayer jar of prayers that I had written back in January of 2025, because I already knew some of the prayers that I had on there were not even close to getting answered this year. And there was a lot of disappointment involved in that. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at what God did answer. And I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't a lot. There's more Post-it notes in this unanswered jar from January of 25 than there are Post-it notes from this year in this answered jar, by a long shot. But what I will say is I was still astounded when I came across some of the things I didn't even remember writing and praying for, that I then came across this morning and I saw were answered. And specifically what I want to say is there was at least 2, if not more, answered prayers that got put in this jar this morning that I had actually written in May of 2024. So sometimes what I like to do too is we'll do I apologize, this chair's so loud. That's a prayer for 2026 is I get new chairs for this podcast studio. So y'all be praying with me. But one of the things I sometimes do is we'll do this vision night in January. I like to start the year off with doing this, writing these prayers out. And then I will on my own, typically in May, it seems to be in May or June, about midway through the year, I like to go back, revisit, and even maybe add or update prayers to the prayer jar. And what I found is 2 or more of the prayers that got answered this year in 2025 were not written in January of 2025, but they were written in May of 2024. And I had forgotten that not only had I written those down a year and a half ago, but that they were answered sometime in 2025. And so my encouragement to you is, as discouraged as I knew I was going into this, and the reason I was putting it off assessing these prayers is because, again, I knew I could remember some of the ones I wrote down this year that I know have not been answered. But what encouraged my soul was the fact of some of the ones that were answered this year, I didn't even write this year. And so my encouragement to you is, like, it could take a year or more. Some of these prayers, they did get answered this year. I wrote them in January. They're answered by December. Praise God that is the case. But you might find that I have a lot of unanswered prayers in this jar. And every year I do this, I tend to get more and more audacious with what I'm praying. Because even though this jar of answered prayers is a lot less full, this is somehow renewing my faith that even some of the crazy ones maybe can be. And even maybe some of the ones that I thought were not going to happen and were not going to come to pass actually did and do. And the Lord is still faithful regardless. And so I wanted to just share that with you guys as you start your New Year's. You're listening to this on January 4th. Maybe this week or maybe next week. I think within this week or next week, we're going to do our vision night as a Bible study group. And I just encourage y'all to just get 2 small containers, whatever you want that to look like. Get pieces of paper, get Post-it notes. If you want to type it, on a document instead of handwriting it, that's okay too. Like, however you want to do it. But if you are like me, especially, and you're like, I never cared about words of the year. I never cared about a vision board. I don't really do goals for the year, at least not now in my life. Again, I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad. If that works for you, great. But the biggest thing is, like, especially if you call yourself a Christian, you gotta be inviting and holding these up to the Lord. If you're watching on video right now, my posture with this jar in my hands, I don't care how crazy this is, I will literally do this in my room. When I think about it throughout the year or midway through the year, when I revisit these, and I'm not saying I revisit these every month or even every 3 months, I don't. But they sit on my side table in my bedroom. And when I think about them, or midway through the year, when I want to take an inventory or update anything, and I think about it, I will literally hold this jar out in my open palms, and I will literally, as a physical act of surrender, I will hold them up towards heaven. I will physically take that posture on my knees, holding these up, palms open, hands open, to heaven, because I have learned in too many ways, in too many hard ways, that if it is not from the Lord, I do not want it. I do not want it. It may satisfy temporarily. It may comfort temporarily. It may bring me happiness temporarily. It is not it's not going to be lasting and it's not going to end well. It's not going to leave me better than where it found me. If anything, it's going to leave me worse. Anything outside of the Lord is not going to sustain you. And so I think that if you're like me and you're not used to doing this at the beginning of the year, and again, it's not because it's January 1st or January 2nd or the first week of a new year. God doesn't care about that. But again, I think use these natural timelines of transition and seasonal changes and calendar changes. Use them as a marker and a time to just set aside to do something like this. That's what I'm saying. You could do this in May or June of every year. God is still going to answer what he's going to answer. And he's still going to make you wait on what you still need to wait on. It doesn't matter if you do this in January or June. It doesn't. But I'm just saying, like, use this natural kind of like cultural reset time, this transition that as humans in our day and age, this is just kind of the natural time of year where stuff slows down a little bit, hopefully between Christmas and New Year, and you can just start your year preparing for things that you could not have asked, seen, or imagined. There were two, I'm going to try not to get emotional. There were two prayers that I prayed for other people that I got to put in this answer jar this morning. And that almost meant more to me than anything for myself. And so I'm really, really grateful to God that he came through, and that he was faithful. And just another recommendation for you, I put the date when I write these. I just put the month and the year on the bottom left corner of every single one of these papers. And then when it got answered, like before I move it into the answer jar, I will put on the back answered the year or the month and the year that it got answered, so that I can look back like I was able to today and be like, oh, I actually prayed this in May of 2024, but it was answered in October of 25 or whatever it was. But I always date, again, not only the day or the month and the year that I make that prayer request, but then I date when it's answered, when it was answered. Again, because sometimes God's going to answer in 6 months. Sometimes he's going to answer in a year and a half or more or less. It's just, you never know. But it's even reflecting on these this morning, I'm glad that I had myself do that inventory and go back through them and see what was answered, because I was, again, pleasantly surprised with what was answered, even versus the things that I do have to settle with the disappointment that, okay, this wasn't answered this year. This wasn't answered how I would like it to be. And I have to just still take these to God and say, I'm not going to lie, I'm disappointed that this wasn't answered in this way this year, but I'm going to keep them in here for next year, and we're going to continue to pray for them. And hopefully in 2026, I'll see more of those answered. I'll be adding more to this jar in January when we do our vision night. But I just, again, wanted to share that with you guys to give you maybe something else other than a vision board or goals or something that is tangible, that you can actually see the faithfulness of God in actual live time. And so I just hope and pray that you take that into your 2026 and you are able to use that and see how the Lord shows up and how he's working, even when I know how difficult it is when it feels like he's not. So with that, I feel like, honestly, I don't think I have anything else to say today, which is crazy. I can be a certified yapper, but I felt like this episode was going to be kind of short and sweet, and again on LTE mode. And I think it was a good way for us to kick off 2026 together. I'm really excited and looking forward to who the Lord brings on this podcast this year, what topics we cover. I have a feeling he has a lot in store, and I'm just really honored that I'm doing this, because this time last year I had a prayer in this prayer jar about doing a podcast that brought the one lost sheep back home, and that matured already believing Christians, that this would help mature their faith. And to read that this morning and be like, I think we have done that and are doing that, and seeing like that this podcast is actually alive and active and happening, and God has sustained financially and mentally and emotionally in all the ways he has sustained and provided this year. I'm just blown away. So I'm very grateful to be starting 2026 off with you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for always coming back and listening. If you are a returning viewer, and if you're new here, welcome to the For the One community. I hope you will spend your 2026 with us. Even if you're not fully bought in on this whole Jesus thing, and you maybe don't know where you stand and you're just searching, you're welcome here. And we're going to laugh along the way. We're going to cry. I'm sure we're going to cry this year. We're going to laugh. We're going to learn. And we are learning together. I'm not saying in this seat as anybody who has any more answers of the universe than anybody else. But I just do my best to steward what revelations and wisdom I feel like he's given me, and steward this platform well. And it's an honor and a privilege of my life, like to do this, to do the Bible study, to do the things and take in the areas that God has made space for me to move into, especially in this last year. It's just been an honor. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Please remember, you can always leave a YouTube comment. Spotify now allows comments, guys. Leave your comments on Spotify. Would love to see those. Please remember to subscribe if you don't, and go back if you're new here and watch, maybe some of the other videos from 2025 if you need to catch up. So I love you guys. I pray that you have a great first week of the new year, and I will see you on the next episode of For the One Podcast.
Cute, but dumb. Cute, but stupid.